Hi, welcome to Wandering into the Woods, a podcast brought to you by the creators of Adventures with BG. I'm Linda,
And this is Jarrett.
and today we're here to talk to you about what it takes to get ready for a more serious trip out to, for example, the mountains. And we mean serious mountains like the Salkantay Trail that we embarked on in June of 2019. And we had dreamed about returning to Peru after our 2012 honeymoon there, particularly to do the famous Inca Trail. So in May 2019, we finally made it out. We finally made up our minds and we decided we were going to return to Peru to hike the trail. But we ran into a problem. The Inca Trail was, or still is, limited by the Peruvian government to protect the historic trail. And as a result, the passes for it have to be reserved almost a year in advance. So we only had about a month to go before our scheduled trip. So we couldn't go on the Inca Trail. And fortunately, we found that there are alternative routes, and we decided to choose the Salkantay Santa Teresa trek to Machu Picchu. Now, in this first episode, in what turns out is going to be a series of episodes, we're going to tell you about what we did to prepare for this trip. And the very first thing that we had to consider was which tour company we were going to use for this trip. We are foreigners going to Peru. I speak the language. Jared understands it, but is not entirely fluent in it. And we're not really locals. We don't know what's going on there. So we just thought, it's just best to go with a tour company. And we did our research. We found that there are companies that are not scrupulous and don't pay their employees lawful wages and livable wages. So we were very careful and very concerned with finding a company that was ethical and provided decent wages for their employees, as well as cared about the environment. And we were fortunate to come across this company called Llama Path, which is a company that provides tour guides, porters, and support staff to help small groups of hikers complete the Inca Trail and other trails to Machu Picchu.
Yeah, a lot of companies don't pay porters very much at all, and they're the ones doing all the hard work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely could not have done this trip without the help of porters. And they're the ones that actually carry all the significant weight. They're the ones that are following you with the mules and the horses that are carrying the heavy tent gear, the cooking equipment, etc. So they're definitely a necessary element of your trip to Salkantay.
So the path we ended up picking was the Salkantay. Apparently, the actual name is Salkantay Santa Teresa Trek, according to the Llama Path website. I think most people just call it the Salkantay Trail, though. So some of the stuff that you'll get to see, snow-capped mountains, to include glaciers. Salkantay is actually a mountain, and you get to see a big old glacier on it. You also get to go through cloud forest, rainforest. You get to stop at a hot springs along the way if you want. And for us being in Texas, we don't get as much of this as, I guess South America, rainforest and very tall mountains. We don't have that kind of stuff here in Texas. So for a quick overview of the Salkantay itself, for day one, you end up at a small village called Suraipampa. And so that's a big climb up. You peak over the Salkantay Pass, where you go by the Salkantay Mountain, in day two, and you end up in Galpapampa. And that's mostly a downhill trek, if not all the way, where you go through rainforest and cloud forest. Then the next day, you make it to La Playa, which is much lower than you've previously been on your trek. I believe that's where the hot springs is in La Playa. And then you go back up to a lookout point on the next day, and you make it all the way down into Aguascalientes. And that's kind of the only town around Machu Picchu. It wasn't like something that really existed before tourists started coming to Machu Picchu, but it's the town that supports it now. Overall, it's about 48 miles for the 4 days of hiking. The fifth day itself is just going up to Machu Picchu. And if you want, you can get another optional night. That's what we ended up doing to give us a little more time to relax in the town. And then for just some basic numbers of the hike, so your starting altitude is 9,515 feet or 2,900 meters if you're into that. Your highest altitude, and that's going to be around the Salkantay Pass, is 15,200 feet or 4,650 meters. The walking distance is 37.5. I guess with the optional, you can make it go up into the 40s. And I think that's what we ended up doing, right?
Right.
Or that's 60.5 kilometers, or I think 77 kilometers for the maximum. Your longest day is day 2. You'll walk about 11 miles or 18 kilometers. Your coldest night is going to be day 1 when you're up the highest point before you get to the pass. And it's about 32 degrees or freezing or 0 degrees Celsius. As far as the trail rating, they rate it difficult, and they also recommend acclimating before you actually start. So, spend a couple of days in Cusco getting used to being at 10,000 or at least 8. You need to be 8,000 feet or higher to really start your acclimatization process.
Yeah, and as far as the challenge level, the difficulty, Jared is a pretty fit guy. I didn't see him having any issues with it. He was pretty much like just running through the whole thing.
It was tough.
You didn't make it look like you were having a tough time. There's a couple of people there that had CrossFit experience. They seemed to be doing all right. They were carrying heavy gear on their backs.
Then they take most of it with them.
Yeah.
At least to start with. I think they stopped towards the end.
Okay, and maybe they have some more input for the next couple of episodes, but they seem to be do all right, and as well as other people from ranging from all ages and genders. We also had an older couple with us, and they seemed to be perfectly fine and really fit and had no issues. I think I was the slowest or weakest one.
For the most part, they brought up the rear. But, I mean, they just had their pace, and that's what they went at. So they weren't rushing, and they didn't necessarily seem to be too tired. But they also didn't do any extra stuff, so they didn't go to the hot springs with us either. So
it's true. But they enjoyed the trip. They were in it for like sightseeing.
No, definitely. So I mean, they knew their pace and they were comfortable with it, and they just kept going at that. So it's not like they ever had to speed up or slow down. They just had their pace and went.
Yeah. I had done running to prepare for this up until then, and I had gotten what I thought was at a decent this form of physical fitness, but I still found it challenging. It didn't help that I didn't anticipate how much my dust allergies were going to catch up to me. So that really caught up with me, especially on the 4th day. And it made for a miserable 4th day. But otherwise, I think I was okay, but I was definitely the one that struggled the most out of the group. And that was with my running experience. So I agree with them that it's difficult, but it's doable because we had people from, like I said, both genders, all ages, and it seemed like, we had all set our minds to do it, and we did it.
I mean, but I guess there was no one there that looked like a straight couch potato. So
right. No,
that may be
true.
something to keep in mind is if you're not up and active, it may be a whole different story. But if you're reasonably active and run a couple of times in a week, or you go hiking a lot or backpacking occasionally, it should be doable. It could be tough.
Yeah, and actually that's something we might want to mention, that we did see other hikers on this journey, and some people, I guess they would have like their own, some of them had private guides that were going at their own pace. So you're right, we would see some people struggling, taking a break, and etc.
Yeah.
And there were some people that would stay at like high-end cottages and stuff.
I don't know how high-end they are. I'm sure they're expensive. But,
well, there were a few that looked pretty nice.
But for being out in nowhere, it's plywood buildings and stuff. But they've got like what would be for the area pretty glamorous, because we stayed in a tent. But, there's plywood
and
hotel-style things and huts that you could stay in.
Yeah, to make the journey, like they make the journey, I've read, overall longer, but it gives you more time to journey through it.
I'm sure
you could go at different paces. Yeah.
And we saw people out there that were just unsupported. They just had their backpacks on, and they would go find a spot.
Right.
And they would stay at whatever campground or, hotel or hut was available along the way. I don't know if they called and reserved because, we didn't do that, so I didn't look into it. But that is an option if, you just want to go out there and do it yourself, totally possible.
Yeah, if you're feeling adventurous, they do seem to have the infrastructure for you to do that.
Yep.
Keep in mind though, the passes are uh, they are rationed by the government, so you have to make sure that you.
Even the Salkantay?
According to the website, like even that one might be rationed now because permits for 2020 treks will be
Oh,
released by the government starting
okay.
October 5th.
Okay, so it's a new thing. Because back when I was talking to
Yeah,
our guide, Roger, he was saying that it's all the local owned, so they want to get as many people going through as possible because they pay,
right.
like the pass or the tour guides. They're the ones that pay to actually have these things going. So it's
Hmm.
all local people who benefit. So that's interesting that the government is now going to start
It might be
rationing it.
because of COVID as well.
Oh, that
Because
could
we
be
didn't
it.
have this year. They canceled a lot of tours and stuff.
That's true. They're probably because it did get packed in some areas and going through some of the small villages. So that would make sense that they
Yeah.
want to limit it right now.
So that could be why. So I would definitely keep COVID in mind and not think that it's as easy as it was in 2019. Definitely try to plan ahead if you want to
Yeah,
go on this journey.
might be safer to go with a tour until all that gets sorted out, huh?
For sure. So, as we prepared for this journey, preparation started even before we arrived in Peru. We tried to be expedient or what would be the word efficient with how we packed our things, make
Yeah.
sure that we had that we thought ahead and tried to weigh the kind of funny weigh the cost of taking items with us versus buying them there in Peru. Also keep in mind what could we buy there versus what should we buy here, et cetera, and vice versa. So um, to help ease all of that mental load that comes with preparing for a trip as big as this one, Llama Path provided these items along with your trip, which was included in our fee, which was for the group rate. It was $695 per person. But that was in 2019, so it might have changed since then. And they also had different rates for private groups.
Yeah. It's also if you're a solo person, you can pay more to stay solo in your tent.
Right. Yes, that's true.
And then they get you with a bunch of other stuff like sleeping bags, and they have add-ons, sleeping bag and hiking poles and things like that you can rent individually.
So what they provide for you is they and this is not an add-on. This comes just with your $695 fee, or 2019. Who knows? It might have gone up by now or gone down. I don't know. But they provided a professional English speaking tour guide, which for us was Roger, and he was excellent, really well spoken, and just really fun and light. Just brought a light mood to everything. Just a good guy. We also had a chef and a support staff that supported the chef. And we had mules to carry the cooking and camping equipment and up to 7 kilograms of our personal items as well.
And with the camping stuff, you almost always eat in like a tent they set up. So you're not just out in the elements, you get to be covered and on a table if it's not like dinner and you're at a structure.
Mm-hmm. And what was the rule with the sleeping bags? Like, were they a part of the 7 kilograms or not?
No, they were, if you rented from them, they were separate.
Okay. But if not, like we didn't, they were counted towards the 7 kilograms,
Yeah, I'm pretty
right?
sure it was.
And so with the fees, with your regular fee came the pickup as well from the downtown plaza in Cusco. We had transportation by bus as well, and transportation by train and bus to Cusco. That was on the way back.
Yeah, and you can do an upgrade there too for the panorama view train. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It has a German name, right? After the Explorer.
Something, yeah. But there's an upgrade train. It's cool, but I don't think it adds like that much view. You should definitely do it if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
But the view isn't like that much better than just like a regular train, I'd say.
Yeah, we'd already done it in 2012, so we didn't do it.
No, we did it.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
We did the train in 2012.
And we did it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did it both times.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we had gotten the regular one.
No, we got that.
Okay. And we also had, we got water throughout the trip as we needed, except during those first 4 hours of the trip in which you were expected to already come with your own. We also got our 4 delicious breakfasts, 4 lunches, 4 afternoon snacks, and 4 dinners. So we were just spoiled basically with the food. It was so amazing and so good. There were also accommodations for vegetarian group members and others with different dietary restrictions. Yeah, like Jared said, like if there was a dining tent, if the weather wasn't good, with tables and chairs, otherwise it's just out in the open. We got to sleep in a 4-man tent for every 2 trekkers,
I
and
thought it was a 2-man tent.
no, it seemed like a four-man tent.
You think you could fit 4 people in that tent?
I think so.
Oh, no.
I feel like Westerners too, like we're also bigger than like the native Peruvian population, so that might be why.
Maybe. But they're like a 3-man tent if you're using U.S. standards.
Mm-hmm. So that's what makes me think that there might be 4 people for maybe Peruvian height. I don't know. We also had a 3-star hotel for the final night in Aguascalientes. We also got a small sleeping mattress at all of our campsites.
So it's not small; it's just an inflatable, like backpacking mattress.
And we got an oxygen bottle that they had available, first aid kit. You also have the entrance to Machu Picchu because those passes are also limited. And we had the return bus from Machu Picchu to Aguascalientes. What the tour company did not provide, and this is all coming from their pamphlet, guys. This is not coming, most of it's not coming from us. We're just adding commentary to it. They do provide sleeping bags for an extra fee if you need them or if you don't want to take them with you on the plane. Jared and I chose to take our own sleeping bags, me particularly because I'm a baby and I wanted the warmest sleeping bag we could find, and Jared found me a really, really good one. So I do not regret that decision at all. We also had, they didn't provide us breakfast on the first day and lunch and dinner on day 5. But that was okay. They do warn you ahead of time and they do take you with, like you can plan ahead and to have these meals with the group. It's just going to be a separate fee. And we also had to pay separately or extra fees for entrances to the Huayna Picchu mountain. Both Jared and I got passes for this, but only Jared ended up using his. And these passes are specific to individuals, so unfortunately I couldn't just give my pass to somebody else to use it.
I don't think they check that hard.
Well, maybe. Yeah, you're the one that actually went there, but we were told at the time that we couldn't, that they were specifically assigned to individuals.
What's the other peak?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because you can also do the other peak with the moon tower or the moon temple on it.
Yeah. And those are right before you do the Machu Picchu one, right? The tour, right before you do the Machu Picchu tour?
Yeah.
Or after. I guess they could schedule it for after as well. Some people might have done it afterward.
Okay. The peak that I went on, Huayna Picchu, is like before it all starts. Mm-hmm. And the other peak that we can't remember, that some of our group members went on. So that's like in the middle towards the very end, like where you waited for me. Because, I went on the tour before you, and you went with the group, and so you waited like almost all the way through Machu Picchu. Mm-hmm. That's where you go up to that other peak. So I guess it kind of depends which one you're going on to where it fits into your tour.
Right. And I felt, like you said, I spent the entire time there. I felt like even that felt rushed for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But we can talk about that later. So what the tour company did not provide... that's what, so we were on the entrances. Another thing they don't provide is tips. So keep that in mind. Take some cash with you. There's an ATM in Aguascalientes. There's so when you get to Machu Picchu, you can, not Machu Picchu, but to Aguascalientes, which is at the base, you can take out cash there to give tips to all the staff. But actually, we did it before that, right?
Yeah, I think enough.
Yeah, and actually, you should prepare to do it before that.
Yeah, you do it. You do it for your staff, like your porters and your chefs, before the last night. Mm-hmm. So you actually don't. You do it before Aguascalientes. Yeah. So that's why you've got to have it. Did the website talk about how much you should tip?
No, they just say tips are not included.
Okay. I must have found something on the internet. So there's like a set rate where you tip your tour guide X amount. Mm-hmm. Your head chef so much, then his assistant chefs, and then the porter. So there's like a breakdown. I found a website, but I also think Roger, our tour guide, also told us and it was kind of in line with that too. So You may want to do a quick Google search and find out what those numbers are, and we can add that to the show note for what it was for us
Yeah.
when we went. But yeah, have it in a head, because your team isn't going to go all the way with you. They're not going to ride the train. They're going to get back in a car and they're going to head back because the tour guide wants to save, that little amount of money and not put them on a train themselves, especially when they're not cooking for you anymore.
Right. So yeah, keep that in mind, and plan ahead and have your cash for tips ready. Probably take that out when you're in Cusco, before you depart for the trip. You also want to take, or if you might want to consider travel insurance, especially with COVID this year. I don't know how it works with travel insurance. I don't remember if we did, Jared. Did we?
No, we didn't.
Yeah. I mean, we were reserving it like a month in advance, so we were pretty much set that we were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did everything kind of backwards. We got our days off and everything, and then that's when we're like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So now we'll move on to what you should take. And again, this is a list of items Llama Path provided, and they say that you should take, as well as some of what Jared and I recommend, or our opinions on whether you should not take it or whether we used it. You can take some of these items with you on the plane, but if you forget them or decide that they're too much hassle, you can wait until you get to Peru. So they mentioned you want your original passport. You use that a lot for your identifications. If you're a student, you want to take a student card with you, especially if you want to get that discount. Walking boots or walking shoes.
Yeah.
Whatever you prefer for hiking.
I just wore hiking shoes, so I use Ultras, and so that's what I wore for the trip.
Yeah, I wore the Ultra Lone Peak 4.
The same as me, but you had the mid-cut.
Yeah, I got the ankle support, and that was really good.
Reportedly.
It was really good. It was helpful, and they're not slippery. I mean, I even made like an Adventures with Fiji entry on them, remember?
We have the same shoe. Yours just goes up a little bit higher than mine.
And so mine are more awesome.
Okay.
Anyway, so I recommend that. But anyway, besides that, take a waterproof jacket or / a rain poncho. We just had our waterproof jackets, right? That was enough.
Yeah, we just took it. And
it ended up raining only once or twice.
Yeah, it didn't rain very much. But we also, with that, is don't wear cotton. So we wore like nylon hiking pants. Mm-hmm. So even if it had rained on us, they would have dried out fairly quickly, as opposed to like if you were out there in jeans. So you know what they say, cotton kills.
I didn't know that was a saying.
Yeah, it's a saying, because wet cotton just like wicks body temperature, like heat away from you.
Okay. You want to take a warm jacket. Jared over the years had bought for us some good like light jackets, but which are very warm.
They've got some down in them or some other synthetic stuff that's similar, but you really only need that when maybe you're stopped at Salkantay or at night.
Oh, definitely at night. And at some point I did just pack it with the stuff that the porters would take.
For most, that's what I did every day. So you don't need to carry it with you in the day in most cases. You can just have it waiting for you at camp. Yeah,
because you're hiking, you're active most of the time. Yep. So but it definitely was very handy at night when you're out in that freezing in the freezing mountains. And then we also had our hat and gloves, which definitely came in handy. I remember getting to the peak of Salkantay.
Well, not the peak.
Was it the peak or where? The Salkantay Pass.
Yeah, you don't go to the peak of Salkantay.
Right,
That's
right.
Like another
Salkantay
5,000 feet up.
Yeah. But the Salkantay Pass, basically. And God, it got so cold there, at least for me.
You took all of my clothes, so I was left in just like a shirt because Linda wanted all my things.
Thank you. I survived.
Yeah.
But anyway, so maybe for that day you do, if you're subject to being cold, because I didn't have the jacket with me, my thicker jacket with me, so I was taking up Jared's clothes as well as my own. Mm-hmm. And also take some t-shirts, comfortable trousers. Cool. We had our adventure pants.
Yeah. T-shirts and trousers, both look for nylon, or you probably don't want merino wool trousers, but merino wool shirts. Look for things that do well with being moist, because you're going to get wet from hiking, so you want things that'll dry like nylon. So take more adventure stuff and stay away from cotton, as I said earlier. Yeah,
for sure. I don't remember if I wore like leggings or pantyhose underneath the pants to stay warm, like an extra layer.
We both took what are called silkies, so like a thin base layer, nylon base layer.
Yeah, but I don't remember if I wore that for Salkantay Pass. I remember wearing those at night for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some days you had them on, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then I just wore the same shirt and pants the entire time because it's a
Yeah.
backpacking trip and that's what you're supposed to do.
Anyway.
Yeah, so you can really cut down on weight and size if you go like that.
I mean, I only took one pair of pants.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
I thought you had multiple.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
Two or
I wore
three.
2. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But I feel like I mostly wore my gray adventure pants.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But I did wear the leggings. I do remember at least one day wearing the leggings, so you're right on that. And we also take your sun hat.
Like a boonie?
Yeah, definitely.
shape.
You want to cover your neck, your face.
Yeah, the sun is powerful.
Sunglasses, I might add,
Yeah, definitely.
for sure. Sun cream, they say, are basically sun protectant.
You can get it there, but it's expensive.
Yeah, we got it there, and it was pretty pricey.
Yeah, probably because they know.
Yeah, it's for tourists.
Yep.
You want to get insect repellent as well.
Yeah, we got it there, and it was expensive. And they had like insect cream repellent. Mm-hmm. It was hard to get spray stuff.
Well, and it's, yeah. So we got that, and then we also got toiletries, and like toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Yeah. When you say toilet paper, do you mean baby wipes?
We had the baby wipes. Didn't we also take like a roll of toilet paper with us?
Maybe like a small one. But
Yeah.
we had the 2 types of baby wipes. So the body ones that are made to clean yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then the ones for your butt.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a chair.
Yeah.
And then we also had we made sure to make arrangements for any personal medication ahead of time. I have chronic diseases, and so I have to make sure that I made sure to check in with my doctor ahead of time for my rheumatoid arthritis. She gave me my cortisoid shot so that nothing would happen, and she also gave me some prednisone in case I would need that. So I was good to go as far as pain went, and I also got some altitude sickness medication.
You should
too.
definitely get that too.
Yes, and it came in handy because, well, Jared and I ended up helping somebody else that came down with altitude sickness during that trip.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess what had helped is that, as we discussed in the previous episode, I had experienced it. And so I felt a lot of empathy for this person who was experiencing it as well. And then we took our cameras as well, a film if you're a photographer, I guess.
We just had phones. We didn't take a camera.
I know it says camera and film in the Llama Pass list.
But probably just your phone. Or if you're like really into having a cool camera, I guess you could take that kind of stuff too.
They also mention having a flashlight with spare batteries. We took our headlamps.
Yeah, that's way better to go.
Yeah.
So that way you have free hands.
For sure. We recommend headlamps instead, especially at night if you want to go to the restroom or something. Those come in really handy in those situations. Walking sticks as well. You can rent these from Llama Path because I had told Jared I didn't need them.
Yeah.
And then during the orientation, when I was seeing in more detail what the trip was going to be like, I was like, no.
I told her to get it from the beginning, and she didn't listen.
Well, I listened before we took off.
Yeah. So thankfully they had extras that we could get and use.
And so, man, there was something else I wanted to mention that I recommended, but now I can't recall.
And if you wanted, Linda got worried about blisters right before we left, so we went around and looking. So if you want like second skin or moleskin or something like that, it's not a thing that Peru has in Cusco in their regular market, like down by all their squares and stuff. So bring any sort of blister treatments you want in advance. So make sure you have that.
I don't remember why I was terrified of that.
I don't know why either.
Maybe I read it, but
we had to search all over.
But and I didn't. If it's, I mean, we did make sure I had proper fitted shoes, so I didn't have any blisters. Fortunately, and we had good socks as well. So
yeah, but if you get to go on a rainy trip, that could change.
Yeah, that's true. That might have changed then. And we were just fortunate that trip didn't have a lot of rain.
Yep.
Oh, flip-flops. I recommend a good pair of like, maybe not the thong flip-flops, but the ones kind of like the swimmers flip-flops.
Mm-hmm.
Those are better because you're going to want to wake up if you need to make a quick trip at night to the restroom or something. It's just easier to, like, if you're wearing socks, to just slip those on and go. And they're also fairly light to carry in your pack with you. So just a little recommendation from me. So those are the things we recommend for your packing. Oh, and a microfiber towel for yourself.
Yeah.
And we specify microfiber just because they dry a lot faster than your regular towels. And they're lighter.
I didn't need one.
But didn't you use mine?
No, I didn't take a shower.
Okay.
That's cheating.
Right.
It ruins the adventure if you stop to take a shower at night.
And throughout this episode, you might have heard some barking or some shaking, and that's our dear friend and co-producer Angela. She's here producing with us, directing us today. So that is her, and I guess she wants. I don't know what direction she was giving us, Jared. Do you know?
Nope.
Anyway, so that's what we recommend, that you make sure that you pack for your trip. Can you think of anything else, Jared?
No, that's it. Other than just your basic hiking stuff.
Yeah. If you wear contact lenses, take
you
your
need a
contact
day pack.
solution. Yeah.
I wouldn't take contacts. I'd take glasses if you could. With all the dust.
I took contacts. I was still wearing them.
Okay.
Because here's the if you're wearing when you're wearing glasses, you can't put on sunglasses on top of them. So if you're sensitive to light and stuff, that's just causing. So but I didn't wear them every day. I think so, but that's why we had to go and get me a little mirror too, because I had forgotten to get a little mirror so that I could put on my contact lenses. I mean, just being on the other side now, I tell you, just go and get LASIK ahead of time. Do it right now. But back then I was still terrified of it, so I didn't. I went with my glasses.
Yeah, but day pack too, because that's what you carry during the day. It's what holds your water and holds like your warmer clothes, your rain jacket. So definitely have a day pack. And one that's comfortable.
For sure. On the evening prior to our departure, we were briefed on the itinerary and had the opportunity to ask questions from the Llama Path staff, including our tour guide. That gave us a chance to change
our tour guide was there?
Yeah. Roger, he was there.
On the first night? I just remember going into the office and talking to that one kid.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We met Roger in the meeting room.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember Roger in the meeting room. I do remember going to the meeting room now, but I don't know that I remember Roger.
Yeah, he gave the presentation.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, so on the evening prior to our departure, we were briefed. And so, yeah, you go into the Llama Path office and they have their waiting room area and also where they have their other staff that take care of like making sure that you pay the rest of your balance, etc. if you want to rent any other equipment. You also... But basically, the purpose of that meeting is for all of you to get the chance to go into a meeting room, and there you'll meet the people that are part of your group, as well as your tour guide and some other staff from Llama Path. And we got to hear a little bit about the trip and what to expect. Also, any last minute questions we might have or last minute recommendations that the staff might have for us for any things that are coming up in the next few days. So this is, for example, where I had my last minute decision that I did need walking sticks after hearing the presenters talk about how steep some of the I guess hikes were going to be. So I changed my mind. I said, you know what, I'm going to get those walking sticks, and I'm really glad I did. They ended up being real useful.
You should have listened the first time.
So after we left that briefing, Jared and I headed to downtown Cusco, and this is what he was talking about. We went out to buy a few things we hadn't thought about, such as the microfiber towel and a small mirror, and apparently something to prevent blisters as well. I remember that now. Okay.
Yeah, we went all over.
Yeah.
And then you wanted medicine, so they were like giving you this weird antibiotic spray stuff, and I was just like, what are we doing? But
I was just getting into the whole, like, be prepared mindset.
It was overkill.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Okay.
I mean, that being said, I did get at some point accidentally knocked out by a mule or a horse.
Knocked
and I was
out?
not knocked out, but like
knocked down?
He did push me to the ground.
But that's not knocked out.
What is it then?
Knocked out is like in boxing when someone hits you.
Okay, so what did he do?
He just knocked you down.
Okay, I got knocked down by a horse, but I was okay. And it because he wasn't coming for me. It's just part of the adventure we'll talk about later. Anyway, so we ended up that night making sure we packed everything up and ready to get going to the little plaza where we met up the next morning. And that is where we will pause for this first episode. If you want to hear more about our Salkantay adventure or other trips that we have done over the last couple of years, I recommend that you go to our adventureswithbg.com website. You are also welcome to visit us on our social at Adventures with BG or Adventures with BG on Facebook as well.
As always, if you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe or follow it in your favorite podcasting app. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. That would really help us. That's all for today, guys. Make sure you have fun, stay hydrated, and stay safe as you wander into the woods.